Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, we're going to talk about what Vandy is going to need to do to try to win this ball game and what the Vols have got to do to make sure that doesn't happen. So we're going to get into all of this good stuff. Now, needless to say, this is a critically important game for the Vols. They've got to bounce back after a terrible performance in South Carolina. We've lost our starting quarterback, our fearless leader. So this is a super important game. The whole world's going to be watching, hoping we lose. So that's just that's the national media, and that's just the way it is when you've been on top. Oh, yeah. They would love to see us lose, and we've got to make sure that doesn't happen. The defense, and I'm talking to you, defense, I hope you show up. I really do hope you show up, because what you did in South Carolina is the worst thing I've ever seen. So, you know, you need to decide. Are you going to play football, or are you just going to lay down?
Defense! This is what we got to do here. I don't know. You got to do something. You got to do something out there. Tackle somebody. Don't let these guys chew up the block on us. Look.
Decide. So that's the first part of this whole bargain, is that the defense needs to show up. Now, this first fella, Mike Wright, is a solid quarterback. He is not going to throw the ball a whole lot. He will try to run the ball on you, but he's going to try to control the game and control the clock. That's really what his job. He's kind of a game manager who also can run. He's got a decent arm. He's just a good quality quarterback, and Vanderbilt's pretty darn happy with him. When you look at his stats from the first ball game they won, which was the Kentucky game, he was 12 for 23 for 184 yards. He had a real nice QBR, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nothing, you know, outstanding, but just good solid play. But what they like to do is run the ball. You can see here Ray Davis had 26 carries for 129 yards, and Wright had 11 carries for 126. So as you can see, they're going to run the ball 2/3 of the time. 23 passes and 44 runs. They had quite a bit more yardage running the ball. In the second ball game they won, which was the Florida game, they did get some fortunate breaks on some turnovers, but the big thing, again, 10 for 16. You know, he threw the ball okay, but not for any serious yardage. But Ray Davis had a real nice game, 30 carries, 122 yards, averaging over 4 yards a carry. Another fella had 5, Patrick Smith. Wright didn't run the ball as much against Florida, but as you can see, they ran the ball a lot more than they pass it, probably 70% of the time in that game. So they're going to try to control the clock. And again, this fella right here, Ray Davis, is the guy we're going to have to stop. He's tough, he's quick, he's elusive, and he will get some yardage. We've got to shut down the run, and this guy could make it a long afternoon for the Vols. It's very important that we shut him down and keep him well under 100 yards. If he runs for 120, 140 yards, they've got a legitimate chance to beat us. That's just the facts. Now, we don't know if this fella, Jeremy Banks, is going to play or not. I would think he probably will. It's probably 50-50 right now. Maybe it might be 100% that he plays. But Jeremy Banks, you know, our most aggressive linebacker, and I think he's also sort of our psychological leader on the defense, or it appears to be, because they sure laid down against South Carolina, didn't have him in there, because he made obviously some mistakes and messed around and got into some sort of tussle with Hendon Hooker, which got him suspended for the game, along with some other stuff. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan of whatever he did that caused that, but we'll see if he plays. But the defense needs to show up. And our guy Joe Milton, look, this is a big game for him. It's really his audition for 2023. He's going to have this game and a bowl game to see if he's going to be our starting quarterback next year. If he plays well in both, he'll have a huge leg up on whoever he's going to be competing against, whether it's Jackson, whether it's Nico. We may have a transfer. You never know who's going to show up and be our quarterback for next year. But this would be a great opportunity for him to show the coaches that, hey, he can handle this, because the guy's got all the skills in the world. He can make all the throws, runs like the wind. I mean, for a guy 240, he runs like Cam Newton. I mean, he can just flat get down the field. So he's ideal for this offense, but he cannot be overthrowing the ball with open wide receivers. That cannot happen Saturday. And we need Jalen Hyatt to have a big game, because we may be without Brew McCoy. And I don't know about Cedric Tillman either. After he got that leg bowed up in that game, that was a nasty-looking hit. So it's important that he show out and help out Joe Milton, but Milton's got to hit him. So I think he's going to be a critically important player in the game. to spread that defense because they're going to try to stop the run. That's going to be the number one thing Vanderbilt tries to do. And they're going to try to force Joe to throw it, which would be the smart thing to do. Joe could burn him. He could burn him bad. But will he? We'll see. I really can't believe how important this game has turned out to be. Last week was such a travesty, especially the worst part was getting Hendon hurt. That just sucked. I mean, that sucked as bad as it possibly could.
I think I just figured something out, Beavis. What? This sucks.
Yeah. It just, I hate it for Hendon Hooker. I hate it for the team. I hate it for the fans. It just was no bueno. But, they got to bounce back. Injuries are part of the game. I've said that all year. And, you always worry about your top dogs getting hurt. And that's what happened. So now we're going to find out what this team is made of. Fortunately, it will be an away game that is not really an away game. We'll have half the crowd there will be Tennessee, maybe even more than half. So it'll be an opportunity for our team to really show out and say, look, we're still a good team even without our fearless leader, Hendon Hooker, who was well on his way to possibly winning the Heisman or at least finishing second. And I think he's going to have a nice career in the NFL. And that's the great thing about playing for Josh Heupel is that you're going to show out. Look what he's done at Missouri, UCF, Oklahoma, and now UT. He took our offense from, what were we, last in the country under Jeremy Pruitt, and now we're first. I mean, that's amazing. Did the same thing for Missouri. They went from 280 yards a game to 500 like that as soon as Josh Heupel showed up. The guy's got the skills. He can get the guys open, he can scheme it, and he can make it happen. The guys just got to execute. That's really what it boils down to. And I am very confident in his coaching style that over time we're going to really be a quality team that's going to scare a lot of teams, just like we did this year and last year. And when we get these high-quality recruits, these blue chippers in, that this team badly needs because we're very thin in the secondary at defense and we need some depth. And he's bringing them in. We're going to have a great recruiting class this year, and 2024 is looking excellent too. So I think once he gets the blue chippers in and has that depth, we are going to be a nightmare to deal with.
That's right. Nice, man. I am dangerous.
But we've got to get to that point, and the better we do this year, the better our recruiting will go. All right, folks, and that's how Vandy's going to try to beat us. They're going to try to control the clock and run the ball. And they're going to try to force Joe to become strictly a throwing quarterback like they did Anthony Richardson of the Gators. But it's our job to control this game. Number one, the defense has got to show up. Joe needs to have a solid game, and the guys need to help him. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and all the SEC and all that good stuff. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps with the algorithm. And I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.